Hello and welcome to Chess Goblin. In this video, we will be taking a look at a game played in round 1 of Norway chess between Fabiano Caruana and Hikaru Nakamura. Fabiano has the white pieces and he starts off with d4. Hikaru matches it with d5, and then we see it go into a queen's gambit. And Hikaru plays a Slav opening. This is actually one of my favorite openings to play against the Queen's Gambit. It's a very easy opening to play for black, and it's a very intuitive opening that you can use. We see a trade-off of pawns. This opening is a great alternative to a Queen's Gambit declined, where instead you would have pushed this e pawn to e6. And it's kind of like a Caro-Kann setup, but with the d pawns. And then we see the knights hop out, Fabiano put out his bishop, and Hikaru put out his knight. And an interesting thing about Norway chess is they have confession booths that you can go into during your match and give your ideas about your game, thoughts about your game, other games. And it's a very interesting addition that Norway chess uses. And about this point in the game, Hikaru went into one of those confession booths and said that his game is boring. And it kind of is. It's a very simple game to play. And as we see, these next couple moves is just slow moving, very basic stuff, a lot of theory. They just trade off pieces. Everything's protected, just slowly improving their positions. Castles. You see pieces get traded off. The knight hop in. Still protected, though, by this pawn. This pawn's protected by the knight. Hikaru just slowly pushing his pawns. Kick back the knight. Kick it back further. Protecting this pawn with these knights here. Slides his queen over to keep it all protected. And then we see them stacking up their rooks. And at this point in the game, Hikaru offers Fabiano a draw. And Fabiano declines the draw. He wants to play for a win. Something he may regret. This game then starts to explode. We see pieces just get traded off the board. You see the pawns get traded off. And then here, Fabiano makes a fatal mistake. Trading queens. Although, according to the computer, it's even. If we look at the clock on the side, Fabiano has 7 minutes and Hikaru has 39. In this position, there's very little risk for Hikaru, where there's high risk for Fabiano. There is no increment in this game until move 40, but even after move 40, it's only 10 seconds per move. The problem with this position for Fabiano is this bishop. It's very stuck because there's so many of Hikaru's pawns on the white squares blocking this bishop. And this bishop, this pawn right here, blocks it in also. With these squares, such as here, here, and here, these squares that the knight covers on A2, C2, and D3 here, this bishop is useless. And Hikaru, or Fabiano rather, is playing the game as if he is down a piece. If he plays perfectly, he can hold on, but he must play perfectly. He slides his bishop back, and now he's locked back. Hikaru just hopping in his knights. And now this is just a playground for Hikaru. He can just slowly try to figure stuff out. He's got as much time in the world. He's got 30 minutes more time. There's very little risk because the knight can't really do a lot of damage just hopping in by itself. He tries to do something, but Hikaru just can slowly improve his position. By this pawn staying on the light square, keeps the bishop useless. So that's what he does. Just slowly moves his knights around. He wants to start walking his king maybe over to help push this pawn forward on A5. Maybe hop his knights in here. And this move, Fabiano trying to explode the position to try to free up his bishop by pushing this pawn, just worsens his position more. Because after his bishop is under attack and he protects it, now the position is completely locked up. It would have been better if Fabiano instead waited with this pawn. But now that it's pushed, Hikaru just had to push his pawn, and he's completely locked down. And Fabiano is under a minute now, and Hikaru is over 30 minutes. Hikaru's got a lot of time to try to figure this out. And we see him just slowly walking his king over, dancing his pieces around. And here you do not want to trade off your knights for this bishop yet. This bishop's no good. These knights will be very valuable. If Hikaru trades off one of his knights, one knight by itself will be very difficult to turn this position into a winning game. Good to see the king slowly walking around, and just shuffled there and shuffled back. Fabiano almost going for repetition here. But Hikaru doesn't want that. Hikaru's got all the time in the world to figure it out. Here, Hikaru took 10 minutes on this move. Fabiano has to play instantly every one of his moves. There's a lot of space for Fabiano to make a mistake and Hikaru to capitalize. He slides his bishop back. Hikaru's king comes back. We slowly just see Hikaru trying to improve a position, trying to get his knights in somehow. If he could maybe get his knights both into this e4 square, if he locks them in here, then he's attacking a bunch of pawns. Here we see this knight just hopping around. Now it's there. Can later hop to the square. And this will be an important square later in the game. Fabiano must keep his knight and his bishop, blocking this square from anything getting into it. Now all Hikaru needs to do is hop this other knight around and somehow get it into one of these two squares here so it can put more pressure on the square. He just slides his king over, not wanting to lose his knights. We have a little knight dance going on for so many moves here now. Now the knight's in the square. And this is now walking into danger. There's the mistake. He keeps this square unprotected. This was an important square he had to protect with the knight and the bishop. Because if this knight ever hopped in, if this knight ever, let's go back. We'll say white moved like there, and then black went there. You can take it with the knight at this point. You can recapture, Fabiano can recapture with the knight, and then after he recaptures this pawn, he can lock down the position. Now the king can't get in. It'd be very hard to hop this knight over because the king can keep this pawn protected. It's a lot easier position for Fabiano to defend. But instead, he hops his knight away. Hikaru pounces. After he trades off, now Hikaru is completely winning. He can slowly walk his king over, hop his knight in, attack all three of these pawns here. It's going to be very hard for Fabiano to defend. Although it looks like he can defend temporarily, this heads into a Zook Swan. And what a Zook Swan is it means any position, any move that you do just makes your position worse. In chess, you cannot pass your move. You cannot just skip. You have to move. And Hikaru is holding Fabiano into position where any move he does just makes it worse. And Hikaru can just slide his king around. Fabiano cannot keep both these pawns protected with the king. and then also keep this king out of here with the knight, he will run out of moves. And he starts to do that. As we can see, now Hikaru's king is getting in. And it's still bad because if he ever takes this pawn, the king just slides in. He attacks the pawn, gives a check, but now Hikaru's king is in. And he's just going to walk his king over, capture this pawn with his knight, and then make a runway for this pawn on e4 to the finish line. And that's what we see. We see a capture, give a check, but now it's all over. He has to retreat his knight. Hikaru jumps back his. And now all he has to do is step his king over. Now there's a runway for this pawn. And in this position, Fabiano resigns. Because there's no way to stop this pawn from queening. Just walking up, queening, and clearing the rest of the board. And some people have been comparing this game to that in the movie of The Search for Bobby Fischer. Hikaru, such as in the movie, offered mercy, but Fabiano wanted blood, and that's what he got. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. It really helps. And subscribe if you have not already done before. I hope to see you in the next video.